Okay. Hello. All right. I think sound is good. Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's wait. I have some people here on live. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. We're here again this evening. I'm excited because my mentor is already up, so um, I'm not scared today. I've heard someone say that if you hear a small boy shouting and making noise, there's somebody behind him. That's why he has the confidence, or like we say here in Nigeria, the liver. So now I can make mouth, and so I have no fears at all because I'm quite confident that by the grace of God, we're going to deliver as we promised over the week, and we're going to have such an awesome time today that will change the lives of many people, as many of you as possible that would follow. And so let's just give a few minutes while while I give an overview of what Growthly is and why I'm doing this, and then I would bring up my guest for today, who is already connected, and so I'm excited, really excited about it. So I've always been a person that is concerned about growth. I believe that people should grow. I just believe that. I believe that people should grow. And my dad, my late dad, raised me in a way that he showed me that all I needed was a seed. And just all I needed was to be cultivated. And just like a seed can be planted in a good soil, and be tended for, taken care of, and has sunlight, and that tree can become a large tree, produce fruits, and the fruits of that tree can become a forest. I grew up with that mentality that I can be that seed if I'm nurtured properly and if I am well taken care of. There's a proverb that I like. I'm actually a person of proverbs, both Bible proverbs and Nigerian local proverbs, and even a few English proverbs. I'm a person of proverbs. I take a lot of wisdom from them. And there's a proverb that says that, what's that proverb? Might have skipped my mind. Yeah, so I'm talking about how we can grow. And there's a proverb that says that in the multitude of counsel, there's safety. And so that it's from that perspective that I believe in the topic that we're taking today. But then to tidy up the idea of growthly, it is that we can grow. And if we're intentional about our growth, we are not like plants that have nothing to do with their growth. And we're not children that we don't need to do anything. We just hear our uncle say, "Oh, you're growing," and then we're excited about it. No. The moment a person becomes an adult, you need to take your growth into your hands and become intentional about it. So we set up this platform called Growthly. It's a product of my consulting firm, and the idea is that we can help people to hack their growth paths so that you don't have to go through every single step that others have gone through. So Growthly in itself is a mentoring platform. So that's the idea. Growthly in itself is a mentoring platform. And what better way to start our webinars for 2024 aside talking about mentoring? And when at the moment it dropped in my heart that we should talk about mentoring, it was not a difficult decision for me to bring up the person that I'm bringing up. He's somebody that I have a very deep relationship with, and that I have spent quite a number of years now working with, and uh, without any regrets. He accepted me as a son, as a protege, and even to some extent as a friend. And it's part of even the thoughts that we're going to have to share later in our conversation, God's willing. And so I would now bring up my guest. But give me a sec. There's something I'm trying to find to show you the who exactly we're talking to. Give me 1 second. Let me find this file that I have of him. I mean, think about it. I have a file of him. So I can easily say, I can easily one day say, so I have your file, right? So let me show you some a file I have of him. Let me read about him a little to you so that you can understand. Joseph Onilede is an experienced pastor with a profound commitment to spreading God's word. So that's what he does, and that's what many people know him. But there are many shades of him that we don't know. With over um, uh, many years, with over 30 years working in the ministry, he has done a lot of community outreach. He has done charitable initiatives. There's an NGO that he runs called Giglad, and the idea behind Giglad is to help to nurture and develop leadership in people, and he's passionate about it. This year, we've had conversations about Giglad already. He's a head of, he runs seminars, he runs conferences. There is a conference that would soon hold in his ministry um, uh, called Strategic Economic Pursuit, right? And you would see how much passion he has in that direction. And to cap it up, this man at the moment is running his PhD. I don't think about it. He's running his PhD at this time. He's at the same time he's an advertisement expert and a marketing expert. He does branding and marketing. So he's really a person of multiple caps. And so that's why I'm excited to welcome. I'm going to bring him up now on screen, and I'm sure we're going to get to learn a lot from him. So I've sent him an invitation, and then now. Yeah. So while we wait, so that's essentially it. All right. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Awesome. I'm really excited.
Yes,
It's obvious. I'm smiling. I'm all smiles. I'm excited to have you, sir, on the platform. I've done an introduction, and I'm sure you'll be like, wait, who sent you to the talk like
who
this?
sent you?
Right? I'm sure you'll be thinking that. But it's we understand that we must give honor to wherever honor is due, and so it's from there that I speak these really honorable words. You're a person that I deeply respect and somebody I deeply honor, and I hope we're going to have an exciting time this evening. And I
Yeah,
think tech is going to work in our
looks,
favor this evening. Yeah,
yes, looks like that already.
yes, it looks like that. Okay. Okay, so we'll get right at it, right? And this is supposed to be a simple conversation, a discussion where we get to feed off a lot from you, but where I think I'll be able to take maybe a question or two along the line. So if you have my WhatsApp number, it's 09080910013. That's 09080910013. You could send me a WhatsApp message. I'm looking at it right now on my laptop screen. If not, you can send me a chat I'm also looking at the chat here, and I will respond. I would send it to our guest, and I will ensure that your question gets to him. But I think I will not be able to take more than two or three questions at the most, just so that we can have these very deep conversations. These very, very deep conversations that we are about to have. Please, I'd like you to really put in your heart to this. It's going to be an awesome time. So, Sal, I'd like us to start by just having an overview of who you are. You know, when we are called to speak in conferences or in workshops or on the ministry platform, there's this introduction where, oh, so and so person is this, is this, and even, well, since I'm a speaker, right, you sitting down listening to the introduction, like, this does not really say who I am. There is the me that cannot be communicated by a profile statement. So that is the you want to find out. Want to find out the you that was in the making, the person that made this.
Wow.
Yes. So the person that made this, not this person, right? The person that nobody knew, the person that was not the adverts and branding expert, the person that was not the ministry head, the person that's the person we want to find out. So, sir, over to you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Start with I'd like to apologize for the hiccups we had yesterday. Unfortunately, but I think there's no better time to have it than now. So thank you for remaining connected and looking forward to these and in fact coming on the platform to be part of this broadcast. Really grateful, and I want to thank my dear Yusuf Adamulinge. You know what that is? I'm really grateful for the face and the followership over the years. So hitting the ground running, hmm, the Joseph only lady that is way back. Um, One was when he started off very shy and very introverted, minding his business. I tell my family today that I'm a very introverted person, and everybody think it's a lie, not possible, And today in my family, I think I have the award of the most extroverted person in the house. While I'm trying to claim that I'm the most introverted, nobody's accepting that, but that's by the side. So I started off being very quiet, minding my business, just running life. But there were certain things that I'll just highlight that still somehow still are traceable to me today, that I can still see as part of me today. One is the fact that I was very adventurous as a young person, as a teenager, very adventurous. I explored, diverse options. I can't remember where, but I picked up an interest in fashion you know, as a teenager. Picked up an interest in fashion, back then. Well, yes, now I think I can connect something to it. My father always looked good
Mm.
from hairstyle, you know, from his, appearance, clean, not expensive, but he always looked good. In fact, I saw some of my um, between 1 to 8 pictures, and I'm like, wow, this boy looks good. I mean, then I had a safari, some I had safari with my pattern, right from childhood, So somehow some of these things just has hung up on me and stayed with me over the years. And so I began I began to take interest in fashion, and uh, I wanted to go to fashion school in Tampa, Florida. Yeah. And I actually made efforts. I wrote them. Then it was just write and post. And we're back and forth. Tampa School of Fashion Merchandising, Tampa, Florida. They actually gave me admission to come and study fashion merchandising and modeling. So, so all of these had been because I mean, it was just a natural, it was just a natural for me to do that, you know. And my dad was like, no, 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 no. So I just kept it by the side. But the entrepreneurial part of me just never let go. At some point, I saw a picture, my wife showed me a picture some 2 days ago about me dressed in one of those neckties I designed with suspenders to match. Then we're not married, those are things I did with one of my friends, and we will wear those and model our own brand and we'll
Mm,
sell, and we're like, wow, wow, this is beautiful. And those were, for me, those were just natural engagements for me. And as a young person also, between finishing secondary school and getting to diploma, yeah, diploma, and then after my first diploma, I got into sales of agricultural products, uh, eggs from farms, sell to different supermarkets, distribute to different markets just to have my own margin, and all of that. And I'll put it by the side also. It was not because my family was so poor that we couldn't eat, but it was a driving
mm,
to earn my own money, to earn. I just could not sit and be making. I'm on holidays for money. Every my holiday were engaged in one selling of share. But glory be to God, I had parents who guided me well. I never got into selling of anything illegal. So I've always been a pusher for making money, legal,
legally.
yeah, legal money, making money ethically, ethical money making. So I've always been uh, there. And of course, the kind of parents I had, good, fantastic parents, good value system, home. There were things that were not part of our home that you can't do. You just can't get into waywardness. You can't get into misbehaving. You can't get into. You can go and associate with some people, but nowhere it will end. It shouldn't be reported. If anyone comes to the house to say this about me, that we ask, where did you get that from?
Mm,
A profound lesson I learned from my childhood, my dad. I had a family friend, a lady that somehow some things, between us, and I was almost getting like physical. We're going to get into. And someone told my dad, "That's it. This is it." With and he called me and said, "Have you ever seen me lay my cancer?"
yeah.
Never in your life. He's late now, but I remember I reminded him of my 50th birthday that he was around. And that has stayed with me. On no ground will I, hit a woman or lay my hand on the woman. Those are values, those are instructions that I won't trade for anything. And it stayed with me. So I can say my dad was my first mentor, so to say, was my first guide, was my first cheerleader as well. Mom. So looking nice, having the drive to be enterprising, pushing for making my own money, not because the house could not. At no point did I make money and it was asked for to feed the house. It was not needed. And I didn't need it to pay my school fees. Every money, extra money I made was to support myself. So a grateful dog. Then I got a lot of other things that I did by the side. By the time I did my post diploma, um, I remember meeting a guy. Now this is where I agree that yes, I can be very outgoing everywhere around my neighborhood. I have friends. I have everyone. It was easy to connect with people for me. Uh, so I ran into this guy who was a medical rep for building pharmaceuticals. And he will come to Niger State, where I grew up, and he was distributing building pharmaceutical products. Right? And I thought to him, I said, so all these things you're selling, which one can I help you sell and make my own money? From nowhere, we connected, and the guy was, I was interested. I've forgotten his name, but I can't forget the pharmaceutical. And then by this side, he was also the glucose GD unit there. So the guy he knew my house because my house was not far from the hotel where he always stayed. So with that, he could leave some products with me. And I would go and distribute them and make my own small margin. And it was in the course of doing all of that that one day I got into one of those pharmaceutical companies, and I saw an ad back for an accountant.
Hmm.
For me, I did business management, and accounting courses were my strong courses anyway. So I applied. Out of about 20 people, I ended up making it be the one that was employed. So I listed, and I mean, they took me in, and I started working as an accountant for the company. And I remember a very interesting part. I would always come to the office looking very sharp, my tie, my blazer, my sister, my looking very sharp. And then the other staff will say, this man will think you are eating his money. I said, you go and check his record. You know, the MD should go and check his records. If he sees anything missing, he can ask me. But this is how I've chosen to
Yeah.
appear. And that's how I always appear. And that became more interesting in the sense that there were times that the pharmacists, the resident pharmacists of the company would not be around. And the MD would take me for meetings that he would have gone alone. Why? Because I looked it.
Yeah.
I looked it, you know, and he would take me, we'll go for meetings, and then he will send me to go uh, uh, get payments from agencies of government that will make supply to. Because I carried the package, it wasn't like the driver would take me anywhere. And I would go and engage and recover money and all of that. And that was how I started,
You know,
like, yeah,
you strike a chord, particularly when you talk about how you unconsciously picked up cues from your father.
yeah,
And I'm one of those people that even I think maybe last week I was telling a friend that if there's anything we actually lack, aside that has led to the degradation of values in our society, it
yeah.
is that we don't have enough role models, people to look up to and say that I think my life can be modeled like that person, right? We don't have enough, and we need people to step up. And what do you now think about the role of a parent, a role of a father, a role of a mother in being that role model? Because I can also find it in my life where there were so many lessons that my father did not teach me, but I just asked myself, where did you learn this? It was my father. I
Yeah.
mean, my father, for example, um, cannot go to work late. Right? I mean, it wasn't about how much he was being paid. It wasn't about whether he was happy with the workplace. He could not go to work late. I can remember many days where maybe because he was diabetic and my mom had to prepare his lunch for him, where he would leave the house without his lunch and we would be running after him to give him his lunch because he cannot be late even for his health. So what do you think about that thing, that import about the older ones, the parents, the uncles, the mothers, the fathers, actually being that first role model? Let's not even use the word mentor.
Okay. Now, the amazing thing is that it's the one, the quality of parenting seems to have dropped. Number two, people or children or sons, daughters that should look up to parents are distracted. Now, like you said, you wonder where did you pick some of those things from? Even me, I've asked. I didn't, it wasn't as if myself or my dad were super smooth all through. No, no. But there were things I picked up because I saw them.
Mm.
And there were things I picked because I was instructed, you know. So look at, I saw them, which means I observed, I looked at them. Two, I was also instructed. I saw the example, and I was also taught. Now today, you have, fortunately, unfortunately, people or individuals, young persons that should look up to father figures or parents, biological, right? But they're busy looking at other things, thinking and assuming that the people they are observing or should be looking at are not necessary. So familiarity erodes instructive things away. I mean, just take away instructive things that we should pay attention to. Familiarity. Oh, my dad is always there. It's not my dad. It's not my, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes there are those ages where there's just that point in life where you just feel your parents know less, or you are more aware, conscious of the level
Yeah.
environment than your parents. I've been there, and I've been there where I thought I knew more. Right? I had current knowledge more, but I didn't have as much history as they had. And I'm
Mm.
also there now where I have children who feel they are more aware than me.
Because they can use your phone better.
Because they can use my phone, and they think it's life all about food. And more, there's much more. So yes, you may be aware of certain things much more than the people you look up to
Yeah.
or you should learn from.
Mm.
But please, the thing is, we must not ignore lessons. We must not ignore examples. You might think, okay, uh, Joseph, it's all me. That's him. That's not me. No, don't be too quick to draw a line that that's not you. What is modeling is actually modeling for you to learn, to see. But we are quick to say, no, that's not my kind of person. That's not my
Yeah.
temperament.
Yeah.
I don't want to be him.
Yeah.
I don't want to be
Yeah.
that. I don't want to be. I
Yeah.
don't want to be. No,
Yeah.
nobody's asking you that you
Yeah.
should be exactly like me. But if you look at who you say you're following or you submit to, there are valuable lessons to learn from them. They may not call you to a
Yeah.
classroom, but there are things you can pick from them. You don't need to be exact replica of who they are, but you will take it. I mean, life lesson. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, also looking at the other side of the quality of parenting. Parenting is a lifelong assignment, as far as I'm concerned, because it happens at different levels. You know, at the level of nursery, at the level of crawling children. I mean, you can't say anything. You're parenting them. You're protecting them. You can't be protecting your children forever. They must come up to a point where they do things for themselves and not have
Yeah.
to
They face life.
lean on anyone to do things. They must be able to stand up for themselves and even defend themselves. You know, if there's any argument or they're able to speak up for themselves. You can't keep speaking for your children. When will they have a voice?
Oh yes.
And so on and so forth. So we
Yeah.
parents must also improve quality of parenting. Know when to be this to your children. Know when to be a guide. Know when to be a friend. It looks like I'm running too fast.
you know, it's interesting. I turned 40 in November. Although
Yeah.
your youth pastor Damilola refused to celebrate me, but I turned 40
Don't worry.
in
I owe you.
November.
I owe you that celebration.
Yeah. So I turned 40 in November, and then I've had this thing where I've realized, because you said something about awareness, and that idea that people feel this is who I am. And it's sometimes I wonder, is it that something's wrong with me, because I still feel as if I've not even fully discovered myself, and I just turned 40 for goodness sake, right? I'm still thinking, oh, I'm just learning this thing about myself. I'm just about to. So I think that there's also that thing that people need to be humble enough to realize that don't use your age to say, now I've come of age. I'm 22. I mean, I am a woman. I can beat my chest and decide. After all, I'm an adult. Some of those
Yeah.
labels may not be. They are not one size fits all.
Yes.
And it is possible for you to have developed maybe in the way you handle your finances, but you are completely a child in the way you manage your relationships
Relating
with
with other
people.
people.
think that's really a deep thought. There's a concept when you're talking about followership, and I think I should latch on it. There's a concept where I wrote an article some years ago about, I think this was in, this was in 2013. I'm just seeing it in my old blog, where I talked about followership, and I said that there is the feeble follower, that it's not just one kind of follower you have. There's a feeble follower that is just weak and inactive, very passive. There's the self-serving follower who is only concerned about himself, just wants to take away from the other person. There's the rebellious follower who wants to fight and tell you that this is how I have to get it done. There's a graceful follower who is compliant, but not necessarily progressing, right? I think that's an interesting thought. He's compliant, but not progressing. And then there's the strong follower, the one that engages through the process, that is willing to learn, that is willing to be rebuked. What do you think about the quality of the follower? Now, not the mentor. Focus on the, is it every follower? And you have followers, right? and so this is not the place to pull the gloves. And I mean, we have to be able to learn this. What do you think about the quality of followers that you have seen? Is it every follower that will benefit from a mentor?
Thank you. This is deep in the sense that I'll say quality of followers has also reflected in the quality of value system or values that we have in the wider spectrum of life, in the sense that you can look at today and say, wow, values are dropping, values are getting in the same manner. Values, followership is getting watered down much more. Why do I say that? We're talking with someone, and this word of wisdom just came up. Sometimes you might expect that people will serve you today the way you serve your before, which you're not like. So the quality of service you gave your boss was predicated on some deep value system, a sense of loyalty and commitment. But today you have a generation that is super migrant. Super migrant. In the same way, look, children today might not serve you as parents the way you served your parents. You know, back in our days, if an older person is carrying something, whether they are giving you the assignment to go and do or not, you offer yourself. You offer yourself. But this day, you are carrying it. You can carry it yourself now. Let me go and do something else myself. So, they're not looking at that. But that was what makes us today people that can be admired, people that have good common sense, stable sense. Because we volunteer to do things without being asked. So followership today is so flaky, is so fragile, and unfortunately, like I said, very migrant, fragile. Number three, it is more on the premise of transaction. What I
transactional
can get. Transactional relationship. What I can get rather than what can build me. Look, if you really want to, I'm a strong proponent of followership and the thoughts. You know? And I trust God for grace and thoughts in print regarding followership, because it is deep. If we have not reasonably followed, your leadership may have some things at some point.
So you are saying that you cannot be a leader if you've never followed.
You may not be in touch with so many people.
You cannot be an effective leader.
Yeah, you cannot be strong
if you've never followed.
If you've never really followed.
Is this because of the things that you would have learned as a follower that will now um, build up your leadership? Okay, so as you said that now, I'm thinking I remember while working with the civil service, the Kaduna State Civil Service, I had different forms of bosses. I had some bosses that I don't want to go to the office. I don't want to see them. I had bosses that would give me a free hand to operate. And I think it was there that I learned that the sorts of people I don't like working for or with are micromanagers. People that would tinker, they would give you a job to do, and then they are coming back to be supervising every single T and every single I to ensure it is done. And I'm wondering, why don't you just do the job? Because I noticed that I'm able to operate better if you tell me this is the assignment, go and get it done. So I would go this way, get it this way, but I effectively get it done. So I think I'm linking that with what you're saying, that you cannot effectively lead if you have not effectively followed. And so if you're going to struggle as a leader, because you will now have to learn lessons afresh if you
Yeah.
have never seen it, if you've never been led
Mhm.
to through those things yourself. And I
Yeah.
find that an interesting thought.
Yes, it's interesting because whether you're following, like you said, someone, you're working with someone, working in an environment is also a form of followership.
Oh yes.
You're working in an environment with kind of bosses. Now, that is an exposure, kind of exposure to different kinds of people, and how not to be such persons because you don't like that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
disposition. So
Yeah.
imagine you never saw it, right? And you now have someone under you someday who behaves like that. How do you handle it? So why we don't want to work with people that are difficult? Why we want to work with people that are just accommodating, flexible leaders, and all of that? Every exposure, all the exposures to different kinds of leaders are things that make you a good
Oh
leader
yes.
in the future. This afternoon, we're talking with my children. We're talking about emotional intelligence, my children, at lunch. What is it? And everybody had an idea, of what it was. Okay, I've written a book on it. And someone said, look at this, look at this on the started. That's to tell you that in a space, there are different kinds of people. And you must understand that your emotion is not the most important emotion. In a space, you have other emotions.
Your emotion is not the most important emotion.
Your emotion is not the most important emotion. Why you want things done in a particular way? There are
Yeah.
other people who will want it done in another way. There
Yeah.
must be a balance to ensure that things move and progress as far as the assignment given is concerned. If you carry your emotion as the most important emotion in a workspace, then you're not considering others who probably had a bad day or who are probably going through a sickness or something, and that has informed their reaction or their response to work. So your emotions at within the work environment cannot be the most important. You've got to learn others, others' disposition and be aware of that, as well as manage your own. And we give an example. If you know that once you are hungry, you are very angry, then deal with it. So you don't cut across as someone who is always angry. Because everyone that
Oh
sees
yeah.
you every time you are hungry will say that guy is always angry. You
Is
go
an
and
angry
deal
person.
with it. You know.
Wow.
So followership is very important to your emergence as a good leader. I've worked under different kinds of people. I've worked under people that are very hard, very strong and driving, while I can be very slow, dramatic. I've worked under people who can be very aggressive and who will talk down at you and all of that. And in all of that, I have also seen how displeasing some of those things can be. And that has informed how I myself over time have been able to manage my place of leadership. So I think
Yeah.
we must be, and this also touches on our sorry if I may go to governance and politics,
Yes,
and this
why
also
not?
touches on the wider spectrum of emergence of leadership in our society. If somebody comes and he begins to campaign, what is his history? Who did who did he work under? What is his
Mm,
pedigree? What did he learn? How did he follow? All of those things have now been monetized. So once the
mm,
guy has the money to dole out, he don't care. And unfortunately, the voting public, just which is one of the passions I have to educate the voting public. The voting public just votes without knowing the character, the kind of persons we are voting for. Yes, in a few times we have seen, okay, this one has a good history of working well, of working in an environment where he has clean slate, that kind of clean history. And then you're able to, if we have people who have proven track of good followership and have been
mm.
taught and mentored and leadership, I think we'll have
This is the
better
this is this is this
leadership.
is this is solid. This is solid. I have questions, but there's a person, one of our viewers just sent a question that says that
Okay.
how do you manage an uncompromising leader that wants everything done in a particular way or no way? I mean, if it's not done in this way, I'm not going to do it. Those kinds of leaders, how do you manage that kind of person?
Okay. Now, in work environment and in followership, it's not enough to understand yourself. You also must understand who your leader is and the passion that your leader carries. Some persons are aggressive. They are the way they are because of the passion they have for what they are doing. So why is your leader saying it must be done this way and no other way? You need to understand that. That's one. Number two, you are not the one calling the shots, so you must know where
Your limits.
you must know your limit. He is the leader at that time, and if you are answerable to him, whatever you do is as instructed. That in some way may mean you will be documenting your idea, right? That's the polite way to say your ideas may not fly, but document them.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Your ideas
Yeah.
may not be taken, but document them. It doesn't mean you don't have brain. It doesn't mean you're not creative. No, but document them. He's the one calling the shots, so he's the one that is answerable to whoever at the end of the day. So if you
Yeah.
are querying, I only acted on instruction.
Yeah.
I know one thing, followership is one of the sweetest things.
Because you're protected.
You have
So
cover.
you can always say no, I just followed
Oga
instruction.
said I should do it this way. This is
Oga
how.
said,
So in
Oga said.
dealing with a difficult or a leader that says this is I wanted done, you've got to understand the passion with which that person, interest with which that person is working. If you understand it, you'll be able to accommodate whatever he's saying or whatever he's putting to the table. And then also understand that you are not the one that your leader should understand, but
Mm.
understand your leader. Okay,
There,
understand your
there's a
boss.
thought that there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So there are some thoughts in my mind, and I'm very watchful of. Uh, it's an honor to have you, so I have to take advantage of every single moment. But there's a thought in my mind about. Let me see which of them to pick up first. It is about watching how to um, ensuring that you don't cross the lines, right? So there are times when,
Sorry, I
because
didn't get
of
that.
good,
I,
yeah. So ensuring that you don't cross the lines.
okay.
So
Okay.
there are times when, because maybe you're a good follower, or maybe you have a welcoming mentor,
Yeah.
your relationship moves from protege to hardworking protege to even friendship at some level,
Associate.
and associate, and then friendship, and then associate, and then sometimes these lines blur, and so it is possible for you to now cross the lines when you don't, when you shouldn't have. Now I know that you are consistently a loyal protege, even though you are a mentor to many. How do you ensure, and this is because so the audience may not everyone in the audience might have seen this, but I've observed you at the back end, right? I've been with you very close quarters where you are with your own mentor. I am inside the same vehicle with you, and I'm observing your own demeanor, your own gesticulations, your behaviors, the way you speak, and I'm like, how do you ensure you don't blur the lines?
Okay. Now, the thing is, I said when excuse me, when you asked
Yeah,
about
maybe you didn't know I was observing.
I didn't know, but well, I don't know how those things happen. But one thing is this: uh, someone you hold in high esteem as a mentor or as a leader, you must do all you can to keep them in that frame. So familiarity should not tamper with it. No matter how much your mentor pulls you close, no, it's like your father saying, okay, this is a small place, come and sleep with me on the same bed and all of that. Your biological father and all of that. You feel like a child, but there's an age you can say, no, daddy, sleep. I will lie down on the floor, no matter how uncomfortable it is. As much as your father can be your friend, you don't cross the boundary and think you are age mates. All right?
Yeah.
As much as your father can be your friend, you are eating from the same bowl, and you decide, okay, I'll take the biggest, the big meat, or I'll choose meat before him. He's only giving you a privilege. Now,
Yeah.
part of problems sometimes is people don't know how to manage access. I hope you got that. Access,
Yeah. People don't know how to manage access.
manage access. Now, if your mentor pulls you close, is giving you more access. If your mentor exposes you to some things with other relationships that he directly has, is giving you access. But you must be able to manage the access to him and not assume that you are now equal. Again, your mentor, your leader is your leader. At no point should you become a threat or take the shine off your boss.
Oh wow.
I mean, you must. I don't know how to put this thing. It's easier to leave it. It's better to express. you know, for me,
It's easier to leave it. Yeah.
yeah, it's easier to leave it. I've not
Yeah.
articulated it in print, but I trust God that someday I'll be able to write on some of these things, how to follow, how not to follow, how to relate as an associate or relate as a son or as a friend and all of that. So uh, you can, a mentor can pull you so close, but also, like I said, in relating with a difficult boss, know your limit. That is
Yeah, limit, yeah.
not being, that is not being timid. That is not lack of understanding of who you are. That is not taking yourself as a second people. No, that is honor and loyalty.
Mm.
It's honor and
Mm.
loyalty. So
That's it.
you manage access. I in the course of my life, I have had people's contacts, you know, as a result of my mentors, you know, taking me along or exposing me to certain places. And on no grounds will I just say, oh, let me call this person. The person is contact.
Oh
The person
wow.
can call me.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow. You just hit a chord. You just struck a
okay.
chord inside me.
The person can call me. But I remember that my connection to that individual was through someone. was through someone. And so I honor that process. I respect such access and I don't violate it. So we must be able to manage access. Now, we develop capacity to manage access. For instance, you expose an individual to a room. You say, be cleaning this room every day. The person comes and cleans and goes. Then you decide to leave some currency notes, mean here and there carelessly. The person cleans and goes, right? Now,
Yeah.
the day the person, their access becomes overwhelming for the person, it now begins to tamper with the currency or the things that you have left carelessly here and there. At that point, the access is overwhelming him. He can no longer manage that access. I think that's the simplest way I can put it. So when you have access, you must borrow yourself wisdom to manage the
Yeah.
access that you
Oh
have.
goodness,
If not, you will abuse
this
the
is
access.
powerful.
That
Yeah, this is. I
someone
mean,
gives you access to
that's
him is not uh, uh, um, a license for you to abuse them or to abuse their flexibility or abuse their understanding. No, 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 no. Understand where your mentor or your father or your principal stand. Every individual deserves to be respected and honored, and you don't have goods until you yourself are disregarded or disrespected.
awesome. All right. So if you have a question, please post because I'm getting to a bridge of this so that we can tidy this up. But there's something I'd like to say before I get to that. Please, if obviously for every one of us, this is the first time here, please follow the Growthly page. It is spelled GROW. Just growth with an LY, then NG at Growthly NG. That's facebook.com at Growthly NG. That's Growthly NG at Growthly NG. If you can say it, please just my terrible handwriting. Just follow it. I would appreciate that, just so that we can grow and help to share this as much as possible. Um, there's one thought in mind before I ask you a trivia question that I'm certain you're unprepared for. On the flip side, now let's flip it. I have heard of situations where the best I can describe it is an abuse of power by mentors, right? Where that's the best I can describe it, abuse of power, where someone who is placed in a position of power, in fact, you hinted it, we're talking about politics, but then now even we're talking of one-on-one mentorship, mentor-protege relationships now, where somebody who has such privilege just literally abuses it. At what, and this usually can lead to proteges throwing the baby at the bathwater and saying, "Look, I don't trust anybody that is trying. I don't trust these kinds of people." Right? So you just throw a wet blanket over the entire concept of mentorship, and you just want to live on a straight line that you know that this is your own path because somebody has abused it. How will, and since we have to be lifelong proteges, even if we have the privileges of mentoring, we have to continue to be proteges. How yes, how would you advise our listeners to be able to identify the early signs of abuse so that they can know now this is no longer a good mentor protege relationship?
Now, um, every relationship starts from somewhere, and it's said by some things. Sometimes it could be career. Sometimes it's spiritual connects. Sometimes there are maybe business and all of that. Now, so those premise, those grounds on which they stand forms the reason why you are there, the reason why you will say this is the person I want to follow. For instance, you can have, okay, someone is mentoring you in business. Why? Because you're looking for an ethical person if you too you're ethical, right? But while the person is mentoring you ethically in business and beginning to cross the line to unethical things, for you as a point as an individual, you also must understand and know what to take and not to take. Is also a sign of maturity on your part. So it's not an issue of garbage in, garbage out, or just take it all hook, line, and sinker, right? So where you started from, why you started, or why the choice of this mentor is very critical, because those are the things, those are the landmarks, those are the bars, those will be like the deal breakers at some point. Are those things being fulfilled? Are those things being strengthened in being answered for you? Now, you also must understand that all men are men, right? So
Yeah.
mentors are not immune from mistakes. That means that there's such a high expectation, and sometimes it's not balanced.
We didn't get that. There was a
I say,
little network glitch.
oh, okay. And then sometimes there's such a
Yeah,
high
from
expectation
all men
from
are
from from
from all men
yeah,
are men.
all men are men, and or all individuals. I'm not being gender biased now. All men are men, and we're all susceptible to errors and mistakes. Yes, sometimes we put our mentors on a pedestal of this one can never be wrong. This one cannot make a mistake without an allowance for their humanity. So we have
Yeah.
such a very high expectation that even we, if you put yourself in those shoes, you say, please cut me some slack. But you're not willing to cut any leader or any mentor such slack. So,
Yeah.
and because of that, the disappointment can be very strong, can be very strong. And part of growing up or part of life is being able to meet other people's errors or other people's faults, mistakes.
Mm.
It's also part of creating an allowance for you to follow. Now, drawing the line between, I mean, when people are abusive mentors. Uh, for me to draw an example from Saul in the Bible and David, right? Uh, Saul became aggressive to David. But what did David do? David behaved himself how? Wisely. Wisely. That David would still reverence Saul to to the point that an opportunity to kill someone that was your mentor and has become your enemy was that after your
Yeah.
life, he wouldn't take it. But today, in today's context, we will say, that is Old Testament, no grief for anybody.
Yeah. That's it. That's a blessing in disguise.
Okay, now, now, so those are things. And I will also say that, look, don't use sledgehammer to kill an ant. In other words, don't put a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Mm.
As much as possible. If you may need to withdraw a bit, withdraw from a mentor, don't slam the door. Because the relationship is the currency of life.
A
So
quick one, right?
yeah,
Is it okay for somebody you are older than to mentor you?
yeah, it
Okay.
is
So it is not.
possible.
We're not. We're
That's why.
not. We're not talking. We're not talking about age here.
Yeah, we're
We're
not
talking
talking
about
about age. Yeah,
what value
yeah, I
somebody
said
has to give to you.
what value somebody. Yes, I said on what premise are you deciding that this one should mentor you? I
Okay.
mean, there are things Yusuf has mentored me on
Ah,
unconsciously without me and
ah. No, no, don't cause me problem.
so you know at some point because mentors basically make input in your life and ensure that your life gains strong and faster traction and progress, than when they met you. And so someone can be your mentor in business. It might not be your
Yeah,
age, might be older, might
yeah,
be younger.
yeah,
Someone can be
yeah,
your
yeah,
mentor in career. If the
yeah,
person is in the career before you, I mean, you learn.
yeah.
Someone can be your mentor in spiritual matter. And when it comes to spiritual
Yes, and
thing, has nothing to do with
yeah,
age.
yes.
So you can have all
That's
those
indeed.
inputs. And if God has so blessed you that business mentor, spiritual mentor, uh, every other mentor you find in one person, you are blessed.
Yeah. So
That's
you have to be careful how you manage. You have to be careful how you manage those relationships. Don't abuse it. Don't take it for granted. Don't expose your mentors just with every opportunity you get. Don't fight them because they're vulnerable. I mean, so much has been said. I have one trivia question. It's actually a very
it.
random question that has been pre-planned before today. It has nothing to do. So it's a very random question, and I think this is my last question. It says that which Nigerian A-list artist sang the song "Is Lonely at the Top, Lonely, 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 Money on My Mind, Money, Money, Money." We want to know.
Okay, sorry, I didn't get it. You want to know if it's really lonely at the top?
No, no, I want to know who sang the song.
Ah, who sang the song? Wait, how do you guys expect? Well,
I knew I was going to have fun asking this question.
oh, jeez.
So when we're done with this, I will send you a link to the song so that you can
The song,
listen.
the song, the song. I think I've heard it before, and there are many places I could have heard it. Barbing Saloon. Um,
Yeah,
you are in a public vehicle somewhere. You're
yeah,
passing through a place. You're in a mall and all of that. It sounds familiar.
yeah.
It sounds
That's for
familiar.
me.
Yeah.
I listened to it on my Apple Music. I'll send it to you. It's a
You
lovely
see now,
song.
you're mentoring me in a different direction.
I'm sure. I'm sure Pastor Debbie will like Yusuf, Yusuf. All right, sir. It has really been awesome. It has been a lovely conversation. We've gone over an hour. I really appreciate the 1 hour of your time. See, that means is Minister Asake. That's
Oh yes, I remember. Yes, yes. Thank you, Pinio.
right. So has been a lovely conversation. I'm truly
Thank
honored to
you.
have had you in this first edition. And for me, your mentorship has been awesome, has been a blessing for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people here in the country, beyond the shores of Nigeria, have really been blessed over the years. And personally, I pray that you would get the opportunity, the life opportunity, to mentor millions and millions more, and that those people that you have mentored would also be mentors to many, many other people. Because if they are following well, they should be able to mentor, right? Just as you said. Thank you very, very much, sir. I really appreciate this. Any
Thank you,
parting words?
Yusuf. Yeah, thank you very much, Yusuf. I'm so impressed with the platform, and I've always been someone who pushed for systematic growth of life, progress of life. This just resonates strongly with me. So anytime anything, I would love to make other input.
Thank
And
you.
I want to say to you,
I'm sure
please,
I'll hug you again.
please keep this
thank,
going.
thank, thank you.
Pray for more grace and strength. And for everyone out there, This is not exhaustive, what we have spoken tonight, but it's not exhaustive. There's so much more that can be added to it, or some can be removed from it. Don't castigate if you feel what I said was not, oh, that's not how I'll do it, or that I don't want to do it that way. No, no, no. Just take it, look at it. If it makes sense, good and fine. If it doesn't, keep it aside.
Yeah,
Someday
keep
you may
it
need to revisit
somewhere.
it.
Yeah, so
Keep
keep
it
it
somewhere.
somewhere. Keep
Just
it
keep it
somewhere.
somewhere, hang it
Like
somewhere. And
those
people
lessons of
you
parents.
I'm telling you, and
Yeah.
then if you have mentors who are reasonable, or workspace bosses who are reasonable or are not reasonable, don't throw them all away. You will learn to be firm. You also learn to be flexible. It's life is a combo. It's not just one way traffic. So I wish you the very best and a great week ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome, my pleasure.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for being a part of this. Thank you for giving us 1 hour of your time. I really appreciate it. Please, I'm begging you, follow the page, and whenever we go live, help us to share. It's Growthly NG at Growthly NG. I really appreciate it if you do that. We've come to the end of today's edition. I hope that you've had value. What we'll do in this video is that we will download it off Facebook, cut it in parts, and post it again so that people can get to share as much as possible. So from me, Yusuf Lenge. See you again next time.